Hello, welcome back. Today I want to talk about a crazy little pair of scissors. Say hi to these awesome little things. Oh, hello there. All right, before I say more, I want you to know that this is not a sponsored video. I just found these awesome little scissors on social media, looked them up as they could have helped me and my kiddos, and now I want to share them with you. So, there's some really cool, helpful qualities to these things that I want to tackle later. First, I want to tackle the parts that for me could either use some improvements or another product in the same or similar style as them, as the minuses for me could be pluses for other people. It depends on what you need or what you're looking for. So let's tackle what for me were some of the difficulties first, or minuses, and then we'll move on to the awesome sauce. All right, so let's get to those minuses. All right, so number one, removing and replacing this blade safety sheath can require some hand and finger dexterity and strength. So for individuals for who this product is helpful, it's hard to take off or put back on at times. For example, well, first off, for kids, that can be a great thing. Potentially not as great for an adult like myself. If I'm struggling with my hands, which happens with more frequency than I generally admit, it can be really difficult to take off the safety sheath if I need to use the points at all, or if I'm having a hard day. Again, not only can it be hard to take off, it can also be really hard for me to put them back together because dexterity problems can make it hard to put it back together. Even when I put it down onto a solid surface, sometimes it does make it easier being able to put it down on something to put it back together, but sometimes I may have to ask for help to do that, to put the safety sheath back on. I don't necessarily need it as an adult, but if I'm going to be giving these to my kids, I do try and keep them on. So it's nice that it's hard for the kids to take off. Again, maybe we should have two of these in our house. Maybe that's just our problem. And maybe my own vanity problem of not wanting to ask my wife for help and still struggling to admit about my dexterity problems and my hand problems when I have them. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to number two. So number two, the version I got comes with a mounting base with a suction cup. You can also order a version that doesn't have the mounting base with a suction cup. However, this was part of the reason we got it. It doesn't always stay in the base as well as I would like when it's being used, especially with more force on a solid surface. When pushing down, it can bounce out of the base with surprising ease sometimes, and sort of, well, it's not totally bad if you just can't fully take your hand off sometimes. And when you have some individuals who might not know their own strength and have the habit of pulling their hand back up, it can kick out of the base, which is a little bit of a minus. Not necessarily big for myself, but it is something I know and can impact some members of our family. So it's something I thought was worth pointing out. It's not a big thing for us. It's not something that you can't problem solve around, but it is a small minus. So that's our second one. All right, the third and final minus before we move on to the awesome pluses is the length of the blades on the scissors themselves. Let me see if I can get this sheath off again. Should have thought that one through. So, like the safety sheath, this could be a plus for kiddos, having the shorter blades, I believe they're called. Could be wrong on that. Feel free to let me know and correct me on that. But the shorter cutting implements on the scissors themselves, that could be great for kids. It's a plus for making them portable. It's also a plus for manufacturers' ability to keep the costs down a little bit. It does make them a little bit harder to sharpen, especially farther in. You have a much smaller area that's easy to sharpen, and it's, as for me personally, I like to be able to make longer cuts with single pushes of a pair of scissors, and have the consequently larger lever and fulcrum action for the tools, so I could get more purchase for the push, more oomph for the push, whatever you want to call it. That would be nice. Though those 3 minuses aren't all that big, but those are the ones for me. That's the only minuses I came up with. So let's tackle the things that make this pair of scissors, to me, something that are awesome and super helpful. All right, so yeah, I did rag on the safety sheath having difficulty to take it off and be put back on as a minus at the beginning. And that is, the difficulty can be a bit of a minus for an adult, as I pointed out, and it's a plus to have it for kids. However, the fact that it is removable at all is a plus on a pair of scissors that can be used with kids, because it means that you can sharpen the scissors even when they're used for individuals, not just kids, but individuals where you need the safety sheath around the blades, and still have them usable. And again, you can sharpen them and keep the same pair of scissors in use longer and functioning quite well for crafts for a longer period of time. Number 2, the handy dandy suction cup mount. As I mentioned, the little holder can be a little finicky with keeping stuff in it. However, the suction cup does work really well and can be attached to pretty much anything, even my hand, fairly well. And it can be attached to counters, walls, most things that a suction cup can attach to, and apparently a few things that suction cups sometimes struggle to, although it does fall off of my hand if I move it too much. And that's a big plus. You can attach it to a wall if that's something that works better for you, and putting the scissors in, keeping in mind that you would probably want to keep your, however you're pushing against the scissors, pressed against the scissors until you're done cutting, or recognizing that the scissors will probably fall out. But it's really versatile and really useful, the fact that you can suction cup it to just about anything. And that can be really handy depending on your needs and your mobility, like how your body moves and your limitations, or the limitations of the people that you're trying to provide for. So that's a huge plus to me. Number 3. I don't know if you can see them very well, but these built-in little springs, there's 2 of them on this thing. They're really helpful because there's no fighting to reopen these. You just sort of push them together. If I'm having a hard time, I don't have to worry about prying scissors back open. So if I'm having a day where I'm struggling with my fingers really bad, or a morning where I'm struggling with my fingers really bad, or whatnot, or one of my kiddos is having a hard time, you don't have to worry about reopening the scissors. They do it for you. They push back, I just push down, and then I let go, and they open themselves. It's handy in that way. Or for someone who might not have, all of your fingers, or might not have access to all of your fingers, or if you don't have a hand, or you're using another appendage to use the scissors, that is an option. You don't have to use fingers with these scissors, and that is a great option with the spring, because then you don't have to use fingers at all. It's not a requirement. Super helpful. I think that's a great addition, and I know there are other pairs of scissors out there that have springs in them, but these are with the next item on the list. The spring is super helpful. So let's get to number 4 now. So with the spring, as I was saying, this flat part is super helpful, because while there's other spring-loaded scissors on the market that I've seen, I haven't seen any yet that don't have, or very few. I've maybe seen one or two others that are like table mounted. I don't know if they have springs or not though, but this particular one I've seen mostly spring loaded scissors that require fingers. These scissors don't require fingers because you have the flat surface that you just have to push against. And you can see you can do it just holding it and pushing against it. And the spring just pushing back and opening it again for you works really well together. You don't even need hands to operate these things if someone else can mount them for you. And if necessary, you could probably just use a little bit of Scotch tape or glue to glue the scissors into the mounting apparatus. If again, that little finickiness is a problem for you and you're going to keep using it in the holder, just super glue it together. Then the whole digits thing doesn't make much of a difference. All right, the fifth and final super big plus, I'm sure there's others, but these are the 5 for this video. And here's the 5th one, the packaging. Now, I don't have it here in front of me because I already unpackaged it and I was messing around with it, but the packaging itself didn't require any scissors or knives to open. It was really cool. So I bought mine from Amazon, and of course the Amazon outside packaging, outside box, because it came in an Amazon box, did require a little bit of muscle or sharp objects to open. You can just sort of muscle an Amazon box most of the time if you're not in the mood to get something sharp to open it. But the actual plastic packaging that this came in was designed to not need scissors to open, and you could technically just open it without even technically using hands. It was something where you could just sort of unfold itself from itself, which I thought was really clever, really well designed, thinking about the intended consumer even in the packaging. And I thought that was awesome and just absolutely wonderful. So these little fellas, I think, are absolutely great. And yeah, so for a cutting aid, for those who have occasional or constant applicable struggles, these scissors are awesome. I do want to share these with you because hopefully I think they'd be helpful. I'll throw a link to the ones, this particular pair that I have here, down in the description. It will not be a paid link. I will not get paid anything from it. You don't have to use it. You can go and find them somewhere else. I just want to make sure that if these are something that might be helpful to you, like they're helpful to us, that you can find what they are like. And if you don't want to support Amazon and you want to find them somewhere else, that's up to you. I just want to show you where I found them, when I found them, how I found them, so that you can consider them if they are something that might be helpful to you and yours. And if you've tried other similar scissors or other tools or objects or things that might be helpful to people like us or families like ours, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. If there's other scissors you think we should check out, if there's other devices out there that you think would be interesting for me to check out and like me to review on this channel, let me know in the comments. If you've used these scissors and have your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. And I'm sure other people would too, and it'd be super helpful. Go ahead, let me know down in the comments. And one last thing before I go though. I do want to say thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. More than that though, I want to make sure you know that I'm glad you're here. That your life makes a difference. That you and your family are loved, that you matter, that you're unique, that this world is a better place because of each and every one of you. And life can and often is incredibly difficult and unforgiving. And if you're in a place like that right now, I want you to know that you're not alone, that you and your loved ones matter, that you're worth whatever struggle you're going through. And that everything you're doing makes a difference. And everything that you contribute is important. Your voice, you adds something. Your family adds something that is irreplaceable and beautiful. I'm Mike Malcolm. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.